This year's recipient of the St. Catherine of Alexandria Award is Julie Henry. Julie receives the St. Catherine of Alexandria Award in recognition of her outstanding achievement in the classroom, both as a student and as a teacher. Julie maintained a 4.0 GPA while pursuing her licensure as a mild-moderate intervention specialist with a reading endorsement. She decided to pursue a teaching career after producing educational television and radio programs for many years. She was a producer, host, writer, and reporter at WVIZ PBS and WCPN, Cleveland's public television and radio stations. In her role as one of the hosts of the popular WVIZ Cook Series, she enjoyed accumulating culinary tips from celebrated local chefs such as Michael Simon, Jack Bruel, and Mike and Bernie Sokolowski. Since enrolling in the graduate program in 2006, Julie has worked as an intervention specialist in a cross-categorical special education program at Roxborough Middle School in Cleveland Heights. She has a special interest in behavior management and has conducted research on strategies to improve student executive functioning skills in the classroom. She is currently being trained to teach language arts for the International Baccalaureate Middle Years program. Julie earned a master's in journalism from the University of Illinois and a bachelor's in English literature from The Ohio State University. She has won 8 Ohio Educational Telecommunications Awards and 5 Emmy Awards for excellence in educational television. An outstanding student and passionate teacher, Julie is a most deserving recipient of the 2012 St. Catherine of Alexandria Award. Please join me in congratulating Julie.
Hello, everybody, and Dr. Baird, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm choking up a little already. I haven't even started. President Roth, trustees, faculty, family, friends, and fellow graduates, I am so honored to receive the St. Catherine Award and to speak to you today. And I'd like to start by saying that this past year has been really tough, and I am so glad that it is finally over, and I know a lot of my fellow graduate students feel the same way. Like many of my peers in the graduate education program, I'm an intervention specialist, and I work with children who face emotional and behavioral and economic challenges in addition to their disabilities. And I feel like I've spent the past year performing some kind of a frantic juggling act, struggling to meet the seemingly endless needs of my students while designing and implementing an action research project and trying to take care of a family. So on many days, life on the home front suffered, and I really want to say thank you to my family, to Scott and Nat, and especially Lizzie, for picking up the slack for me and for being there for me even on those days when I was stressed out and crabby. I really appreciate you, and I'm so lucky to have you on my side, so thank you to my family. I have to be honest, even with the loving support of a great family, I still had moments when I thought I was not going to be able to finish my project in time to graduate today. But I did it, and we all did it. And so right now, I think all of the graduates should do something that we do a lot in my classroom to celebrate success. So if everybody could just raise your right hand in the air, don't be shy, reach over to your left shoulder and pat yourself on the back, because you did it. We all did it. We all juggled competing responsibilities. We overcame obstacles. We wrestled with self-doubt, and we kept going, even though we didn't feel like it sometimes. We didn't give up, and we ultimately reached our goal. So I say congratulations to all of us. We did it. Now, I don't want to give you the impression that this past year has been entirely bleak. Many bright spots have cut through the gloom. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, I had a major breakthrough with one of my students. Her name is Faith, and she's in the 7th grade, and she has autism spectrum disorder. And on this particular day, I was at the smart board showing the students how to convert fractions into decimals, and Faith started yelling out, as she's inclined to do, excuse me, I need a pencil, excuse me. And so I said to her, as I've said many, many times before, Faith, when you need something, you need to raise your hand and wait for me to call on you, and then I will give you what you need. So she raised her hand and she asked for a pencil, and I walked over and I gave her the pencil to her and I said, okay, honey, here you go, now give me $1. And she took the pencil and she looked at it for a couple of seconds, and then to my surprise, she said, good one, Mrs. Henry. And I really could not believe it. It sounds like something so trivial, but for Faith, this was a major accomplishment. I'd been trying to make little jokes with her and have conversations with her for months and months, and she'd never really looked at me, she wouldn't respond to me, she never had interacted with me much at all. And now, not only had she spoken my name for the first time, but she had understood the joke. She didn't laugh, she still didn't look at me, but she understood the joke and she responded with an appropriate comment. And I felt over the moon. I was so proud of Faith, but I was also proud of myself because I had finally been successful at getting through to her. And that experience caused me to reflect on how my definition of success has really changed since I came here to Notre Dame College to learn how to become a teacher. You know, a decade ago, I thought I knew what success was, and I considered myself a successful modern career woman. I had it all. I had a smart, funny husband and 2 great kids and a cat and a dog and a house and a great job in TV where I got to meet all kinds of interesting people and go to interesting places. And that was a job I had worked really hard to get, and I enjoyed it for a long, long time. Everybody's so nice to you when you're in TV. You know, public relations people invite you to nice events. They've got food laid out for you and the camera crew. People you don't know say hi to you at restaurants and in stores, and even public officials would talk to me about their plans for how to fix all the problems facing our community. In fact, strengthening our community was the mission of the media organization for which I worked, and I really felt proud that I was doing my part to help make life better for the people of northeastern Ohio. But gradually over the years, my perspective began to change, and I found that instead of writing about what other people were doing to make their communities better, that I really wanted to make a difference myself. And so after a lot of soul searching, I decided to resign from my television job and return to school to become a special education teacher. And I thought it would be an easy transition because I grew up with a brother who has special needs. Well, my transition from broadcasting into teaching has been extremely rewarding, but it has not been as easy as I thought it would be. And one reason is that many of my students come to school with a wide range of social service issues that I feel are not adequately addressed by the school districts or by the state and federal bureaucrats who serve our students. But another reason goes back to the idea of defining success. You know, in TV, immediate feedback made it relatively easy for me to determine the success of a program that I had produced. The feedback included ratings and viewer phone calls, meetings with supervisors, and notes from community partners. And while I didn't always enjoy having my work picked apart by so many different constituencies, today I find that I really miss that immediate feedback about how I'm doing. You know, as a teacher, it's really difficult sometimes to gauge the day-to-day impact I'm having on my students. Our elected leaders tell us that a teacher's success should be measured by the results of the Ohio Achievement Assessments. But I don't agree. I believe that these high-stakes tests provide a myopic view of our students, especially students who have special needs. A high-stakes test won't measure the improvements in receptive and expressive language skills that help Faith understand a joke and to come back with a snappy comment of her own. A high-stakes test won't measure the gains in executive functioning skills that have enabled Jimmy to stay in his seat and attend for a lesson for 10 consecutive minutes instead of just 2. And a high-stakes test won't measure the increases in self-awareness and social skills that have empowered Maurice to walk out of a room and cool off when he feels angry instead of getting into a fight. At least most of the time. He's still working on that. Faith, Jimmy, and Maurice are three of my biggest success stories this year. And until this moment, I'm the only one who knew about them or really cared about these successes, except for my family, because I tend to go on and on about my kids at school, at dinner. But my point is, as teachers, we don't get a lot of outside feedback about how we're doing. As a general rule, only our students witness the expert way that we manage the many, many challenges that we face every single day. And so, my fellow teachers, it's up to us to define and recognize and celebrate our own successes, because nobody else is going to do it for us. So here are a few tips that I have. Number one, remember what you've learned here at Notre Dame College. You know, that action research project wasn't created just to challenge us and to drive us crazy for a year. It actually has a practical classroom application. So if you're having a problem, you know what to do. In the words of that famous sports shoe company, just do it. Number two, follow the golden rule. Treat your students the way you'd want somebody to treat your own child. Never disrespect them, don't point out their flaws, and find something to genuinely like about each one of them. Because no matter how tough they act, our students are really just kids, and they look at us to be their role models. And finally, be patient, be kind, and try to maintain a sense of humor. Because like a stone tossed into a still lake, our actions have a ripple effect that could last for years or even a lifetime. So let's make sure that we're influencing our students in a positive way. So in conclusion, my fellow graduates, I sometimes have those difficult days where I really think to myself, what have I done? Did I make the right decision? Teaching is so hard. And in those moments, I hear this little monotone voice in my head, and it says, "Good one, Mrs. Henry." Thank you very much for listening, and please accept my sincere and heartfelt congratulations to the Notre Dame College class of 2012. Thank you.